Howdy, world. Howdy, America. This is Cowboy Grady. It's February 19th. I'm in my crash, all snuggled like a buggle, nice and warm under my blankets and everything. And, because I'm kind of homeless and broke. But anyway, but I want to tell you about another long time dream I've had. I am an actor. At least I fancy myself one. But actually, world, I am the greatest actor that ever lived. Ask anybody, I've told them all. And I am really, truly. And, there's this man, this actor. He's a pretty good actor. He used to be on a show called Designer Women. His name is Hal Holbrook. And he does these plays about Mark Twain. And it's a one-man show, and he goes around and, he dresses all up in costume like Mark Twain. Mark Twain was a great American author. He wrote a lot of books, Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn. A lot of people don't like his books. Some, mostly never read them because they're like actually really, really, really beautiful. But he did, I'm part of African American, part of everything just about. And anyways, but the books are really beautiful. The black characters in it are really beautiful. But, there was kind of hard times back then. And, so they bring up some hard feelings and a lot of PC kiss asses, just going to burn Mark Twain's books. And they're some of the most beautiful books. He was a rampant anti-racist. He hated racism, and he was a comedian. He was a commentator, kind of like I am now. And and he was a great American author. He was hugely successful. And he hated racism, and he wrote beautiful books. But some people misunderstand him and mostly never read them. And they're really funny too. Usually he's funny. He wrote a really great one, called King Arthur, what is it? Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. I always loved that one when I was a kid too. But they're really beautiful books, and he wrote a whole bunch of them too. What a great author. But anyways, Hal Brook, he goes around and he does this one man show, and he he imitates Mark Twain. And I haven't seen the show. I was gonna go see the show, but the show was canceled, so I didn't get to go. The chance I got to go see it, but I'd love to see him. But being an actor and the greatest actor that ever lived, and I really am, I like to fancy myself funny. I hope I am funny. I know I'm funny looking, but uh, uh, but I really am the greatest actor that ever lived, and I gladly show it and prove it to you. And I've been in acting a long time, and for a long time wasn't the first thing. The first thing I wanted to be was actually archaeologist. Until I actually kind of figured out, it took me a while, that you didn't get to keep what you found. Most of the time you have to give it to the government, of the country you find it in. So soon as I found out you didn't get to keep all that yummy treasures and jewels and precious stuff and mummies and stuff, then I decided to be an architect, and then I caught the acting bug. And I'm an artist, and hugely overpriced, but actually quite worth it. But I am an actor too, and a poet. I fancy myself a poet, and I know it. But whatever, now you know it. And but I am an actor, and but Hal Holbrook, he does these one man shows, and it kind of inspired me and gave me the idea, because I hear a lot of actors, in Hollywood, and a lot of other musicians, and a lot of media people, they're waiting around for the studios to give them a deal all the time, and that's the only way they can work. And so many of them could really just go out and make their own projects really cheap and really well, and just sell it how they can sell it. And I know there's a lot of problems with getting it distributed, but there's so many that have done it and done so well at it, And so, that's what I thought too. I ain't gonna go over there and beg, the studios. Well, I would actually, really tell you, I beg you anytime. But I really think, if you're an actor and stuff, if you're like, especially a lot of people, like you're not perfect or something in your heart, you are perfect, says the Bible. The Holy Bible says that, every one of us, man, is God's masterpiece. Mankind is God's masterpiece. So you're perfect and beautiful whether you know it or not. But, you know, uh, but being an actor, I want to, do some stuff. I want to create my own projects. And, Hal Holbrook, he kind of inspired the idea. Well, so at first I thought, what I really like to play is Albert Einstein. And I still would like to play Albert Einstein. Because a lot of people say, he was actually, he was a Jewish man. And he was considered in his time by a lot of people the smartest man that ever lived. And a lot of people are interested in him. And he had the theory, in theoretical physics of the theory of relativity, and actually led to the atom bomb and nuclear power and weapons and a lot of scary things he didn't like, but he still created them. He hated it, but he still created it, unfortunately. But it's E equals MC squared. I have a few theories because I'm kind of an amateur theoretical physicist myself. I have the theory of multiple Big Bang events, actually, kind of sitting around with my thumb up my butt waiting for my 147 Nobel Peace Prizes for that. But it's a real and true theory. It was published in Los Angeles, California, and on Craigslist on November 23rd, 2017. It's the theory of multiple Big Bang events. I have a couple others as well. I published one in Ireland, the theory of unlimited elements and dimensions. And they're very serious. And I hope they lead to faster than light, much faster than light speed travel and ships and engines. I have some ideas on that too, actually. But anyways, I am an actor too, and that's my first and greatest love. I mean, besides my woman. And anyways, but his idea, a lot of people said Albert Einstein. I've heard a lot that people say Albert Einstein was an atheist, but actually he wasn't. And he was very famous, so we know a lot of the things he did say. And he's on record for a lot of the things he did say. And he actually did believe in God. So, my first idea, and I'd still like to do that play and a couple others, actually. But I'd like to do a one-man show, of Albert Einstein and his life story and his thoughts on God. But the play, and that was my first concept, it came from inspiration from Hal Holbrook, and he's a great actor too. He really is. He's a Southern gentleman. He is a very fine actor. He was on a show called Designer Women, which I found hilarious, kind of sexy too. And but he was one of them, Dixie Carter's husband, which kind of funny because he is Dixie Carter's husband. So, but he was pretty good on that. So was she, and so were all of them, I thought, especially Delta Burke. But anyways, so I want to do my own one-man show. And another, I read a lot. I've read so many books you actually wouldn't believe it. But it's not that uncommon. I know a lot of people that have read just thousands and thousands of books. You would think it's uncommon, but it's actually not. There's a lot of bookworms that have done it too. And but kind of someone I've always been interested in is Genghis Khan. He united the Mongol tribes of Mongolia, and they were a bunch of little tribes, and they were horsemen and bowmen, and they wandered around and they looted and pillaged and they traded, and he united them, and then he went over and conquered China, became emperor of China, and they spread out and conquered a lot of the world. They called him, actually the Great Khan, and they also call him Conqueror. A lot of people call him Conqueror of the world and of the known world. And he didn't. I find his grandson. He had his grandson that took the throne, and his name was Kublah Khan. And I find his story a lot more interesting. And I really like to do a play about him. And like I said, like Mark Twain and Hal Holbrook and now me, a lot of the things he said are on public record. So we kind of can generally say some things he believed in and said. And so I'd like to do a play, based on his own words. Kublah Khan, he was the great Khan because he was the ruler of China, and took his grandfather's throne, not right away, but eventually, and ruled the Mongol horsemen and the uh, and China and a lot of other places. And they called them actually, you've heard of the boogeyman, right? I mean, the boogeyman. Ooh, be afraid. Well, actually, the boogeyman, that's actually, they were the Mongols. Boogie, they call it, that was what Europeans called, and some other people, they called the Mongols because they were so scared of them. They were ferocious people, actually, ferocious warriors. And but I want to do a play based on him. I call it mostly a one man show, and there's hardly any today, Broadway, because I don't never want to be. I want like to make a lot of movies, and star in some and direct and produce some. And I've always wanted to, but I've always never wanted to really be. There's a difference. I don't know if you know it, but there is a difference between a movie star and an actor. Some are both, some are one or the other, and but I was more interested in being an actor. An actor more really generally concerned, and you can be an actor and movie star, and a lot of actors are movie stars, and not movie stars, but generally, movie stars famous. That's what it's fame and popularity and everything, and an actor is more generally, in the biz, actor's concerned with the quality of his performance. That's what I'm concerned with too. But Broadway, that's where we have all our a lot of shows, the best shows in America, live shows, live theater, and I've always had a heart for that. That's what I've always wanted to do the most, and because there's nothing like it, and I've done some, and it's just incredible beyond belief. There's nothing like it. And believe me, and whether you do believe me or not, I'm the greatest actor that ever lived, and I'm so willing to and wanting to prove it to you. But anyways, so I want to do, and I'd like to, self produce this play about Kublah Khan, mostly in his own words, and I'll play Kubla Khan. But I say mostly a one-man show because I would like to have some other actors. I'd like to have 2 Mongolian actors and 2 Chinese actors, and about so beautiful they just burn your eyeballs out. And that's because, Kubla Khan, he ruled the Chinese and the Mongolians. So I'd like to really show some. I'd like to have one of each, a male Chinese actor and a female actor, and a male Mongolian actor and a female Mongolian actor. And so beautiful beyond belief. And, like one big thing about that is because, in Broadway and in London, because that's really the most famous kind of, there's other, world theater scenes, but those are kind of the best in a way. Some people would argue, but they really are in some ways. And but there's hardly any shows that are like male oriented, first of all. And there hardly ever has been for a long time. They're mostly more kind of female oriented, and they're musicals mostly. And this would be, a serious, hopefully kind of funny and sexy and sad and awesome and the story of Kubla Khan, his life story, mostly in his own words. But, I also want to, showcase some really incredibly beautiful, Asian actors, because a lot of times in American media, you never see. And, for like thousands of years, Chinese women actually were considered like the most by a huge amount of the planet, of the people of Earth. They were considered for thousands of years the most beautiful women in the world. And you hardly ever see any Asian actors, that are, you don't see that many in American media. And usually you don't see, beautiful ones, and especially men. They hardly ever show beautiful Asian men, And so, I really don't like that because I am Native American, and that's kind of part Asian. Native Americans came, they migrated over the Bering Strait when it was frozen during the ice, just at the end of the Ice Age, from right near China, in the Gobi Desert area of China. They came over to America and spread out across America and South America, and where they spread out. And I kind of don't like that, and I really, plus, it goes with the play. So, plus, I like that eye popping beauty, and there's going to hopefully be some nudity. Not me, because I like to keep my beautiful, wonderful costumes on with lots of big pockets to stuff your money in, actually. And I like to do the show in London, actually. And seeing that there's hardly ever a male play, or actually hardly any serious plays, there are some. I have heard there's this one other loser does this play called Elephant Man, if you could ever get tickets. But kind of boring story to me, really. But anyways, uh, and but I just think it would be a huge hit, and a lot of men really like Genghis Khan and Kublah Khan and all that Mongol stuff, and I would like it to be funny and sexy and everything too. And I also like because I try to be a good Christian, and I hope it would make a lot of money. Hell, Holbrook charges kind of a little too little for me, for my taste. A lot of shows sell for a lot more, so I wouldn't generally, but and I just like to actually produce it myself, because in England they have a couple theater districts. Not Broadway, they have one. In England they have a couple, and even Broadway and England, they have just so many old theaters, and a lot of them are just sitting empty. So I like to self-produce and just go lease or rent or buy one and do my play. And I would also, have a lot of other shows in there, small shows, music, famous people speaking to it, and all kinds of events, constant. Keep it open and running to help pay the bills too, and self-produce my own play. And I'd like to have a real Mongolian yak and a real Mongolian horse up there too, so people would see what that is. But it's also part of the story, and also a golden yurt. Yurts are like these tents of Mongolian people lived in and still do. A lot of them actually still wander or live exactly just about like they did then. A lot of them, and I'd like to do that, and I think it's a really good business opportunity, and I think it would do really well. And leasing and renting and running your own theater and just doing that and packing it with a lot of other events, I think is a really good idea, and I think it would really sell tickets. So I just wanted to tell you about it, and I did, and there would be a little music in it, because music's so much part of so much of mankind's lives. So there would be a little music in them, but not, but the main focus is a serious play, although not, but also funny and sexy and sad and happy and all that. Because it'd be, the man's life based on words and things he said, in public that's recorded, and mostly. And, but also, like I was saying, was I saying? What was I saying? Oh, but I also, being a good Christian, we're supposed to pay our tithes. That's like 10% of what we earn when we can, And one of the ways I would do that is because, I'd like to have like a cleaned down, fun version on every Saturday, and for disabled children and for children of veterans. But I'd like to do the play in London, actually. And but them free, and they come in and have a lot of snacks, hot dogs, hamburgers, popcorn, cotton candy, balloons and magicians, and just a really fun time for them. But that would also be a big tax write-off and a charity donation, and that helps defer the profits and make some more profits too, and plus gives those kids a wonderful time. So and uh and and also what we're supposed to do as Christians, and orphans and poor kids and Words of the State, whenever the tickets were available, but every Sunday, at least like one or two shows. I mean Saturday, excuse me. Every Saturday, for free shows for them. But it's one of my big hopes, investors, There ain't that many male plays, I'm telling you. Actually, hardly. Zip. None. But my phone number is 406 You ever grow some faith and grow some faith, things are going to get better. And like some of that yummy, juicy money, which I do. And I like some English pounds and I like some euros. And I like to, make some money. I generally, though, my thoughts on that are, I like to keep money if I, make money. I like to have diversified funds and but I like, if I really kind of believe, when you make money in another country, you keep the money invested in that country too. That's generally what I would like to do and keep doing, if, and God willing, when I can do that, because I think that's important, because that's their country, if God, God willing and their grace, they, allow me to do that. I think I have a responsibility to, help make their country better and keep their money, in their country. I feel that about any business, but that's me. So, I hope that would be you actually, but that's how I feel. But I would really like to do it in London. And I just thought, I'd like to tell you, any investors that invest wouldn't probably cost that much, or anybody out there, can get me a couple really nice, juicy, I probably need about $30 million American, or 30 million English pounds. A good rich yummy banker, and you can swing that deal, baby. you know Finder's fee 10%, and that's no joke. So that's like $3 million, and if you could swing that deal. And, like I said, there's hardly any male plays, and, all it takes is a little faith and a little homework, just a little faith, you know. And I think there is some that you could raise that money. And also you have a producer job. I would help, if you could do that, I would hire you, help me be a producer. You'd have a salary and expenses and get to come there. And also, though, I hope to have, like, every Friday night, cast party, at like about 10,000 pounds invite, and really lux, and meet all the cast and all the crew and lots of other special things, and it's one of my longtime dreams. It really is. And I'd like to do Albert Einstein too, as well, and a couple other characters, but Kublah Khan. And I just wanted to tell you, I posted this on Craigslist and on YouTube and a couple other places. And hope you have a blessed and wonderful night. God bless you all, America, world. This is about the last post for tonight, but I thought I'd do it. And I wanted to tell you about it. I've spoke about it a bunch of times before, but I think it'd be an awesome play, And I hope you do too. God bless y'all. And, I did want to throw this in too. Because, my pal, my buddy, Marco Polo, he did teach me a wonderful thing that I like a lot. Because, Marco Polo, he was Italian. He was from Venice. He was a great Roman, and he was a Venetian. And he was from a family of merchants. And him and his uncle and his father, they traveled to the court of Kublah Khan. And Marco Polo, he was famous. He came back. He wrote about his travels, and that did kind of well. And he's credited with bringing gunpowder and toilet paper, and some people say pizza, although I don't think that's really true, and pasta to Italy and some other things. And and what he did, and what he's kind of famous for, and what good idea too for, I thought, because he taught me this idea, my paliano, was that what you want to do is you want to keep your eyes open and your ears open to always look for a good idea, or if you have a good idea, or if a smart thought or anything, or you hear one, or a good product, or a new thing like gunpowder or toilet paper, pasta, any good or smart thing, or ways to make money, or do things smarter or better or cheaper, do it more well, but do it better, or if you hear a good thought or have a good thought, or or a smart concept or anything, a wise thought or a smart thought, or a good idea, good recipe, anything good and smart or wise, you want to save it. You want to notice it and save it. And they come to you too, a way to make money or a good business idea or do things cheaper or do it better, or raise profits. You want to notice it, and you want to remember it, and you want to keep it. And it's not a new idea, this thing. Always look for wise and smart things. The ancient Romans, they did it all the time, and then they would use it on people, other empires and peoples they ruled, and they're famous for that. And so Marco Polo kind of probably picked it up from them. He was Italian and Roman. And Benjamin Franklin did that, one of our founding fathers. His family had saved those for a long time, and he wrote them down and he published them in a book called Poor Richard's Almanac, and it made him wealthy. And you could do it too. It just takes a little training. And I'll give you one from Cowboy Grady. What you want to do is you always want to carry a pen and a piece of paper and some paper with you. So you have one or see one, you can write it down and remember it, and then sell it or make some money off of it too, or anything important. Because a lot of times, and I've seen it, even rich and powerful people, I've seen it. They'll forget very important things and just forget it because they didn't write it down. So you really, if you want to be smarter and wiser, always carry a pen and paper. You hear something, see something smart or wise, or think something smart or wise, you write it down so you don't forget it, or if it's something important, but that's about my last post for tonight, God willing, and God bless you all. I just wanted to share that little wisdom. I call it I have this charity foundation. It's called the Cowboy Grady God is Love Foundation. And that's a free world gift, that smart and wise thing. And always carry a pen and paper, passing on to you. And it's one of my free world love gifts. And learn them all. God bless you. Good night, America. Oh, and for Venice, what do they say? Arrivederci. Arrivederci Roma. Buongiorno. Ciao.